Yo, 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 this is Richard Hudgens, and this is the Dumb Man's Book Club. That's about the best I got on my radio voice. I tried my damnedest to do the best radio voice that I could possibly do, and that's what you got. So, hi guys. Done with the book. Check that out. Genesis 37 through 50. That is the end of Genesis. I am not sure how I want to do next week's episode. I feel like we could just completely just review the book of Genesis, I guess, or we could just move on. I don't know. Go to Exodus. I feel like I didn't do Genesis the justice that it deserves on the first few episodes, so maybe, yeah. Probably. I think it's a good idea. I think maybe we should just... Next week we'll just review over Genesis and we'll talk about that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Give me a minute and we'll talk about it. Let me think for a second. Jesus. Oh my God. Ugh. Anyway. Hello. How are you? I'm good. Let's see. I give myself about... Today... I'm like a 7.3. I've had a couple 5s in there. I had a couple 6s, had a couple 8s. Last week was great. We went on vacation. We went to Pensacola, Florida. Had a blast. Went with some really, really great friends. This was like the first time that I feel like my children actually got to enjoy the whole thing because, I don't know. You know, it's always... The beach can get kind of boring and they don't have anybody to play with, and I feel like everybody had somebody that they could go to, so that was really nice. I felt like everybody had fun, other than my daughter. She had a staph infection under her armpit and she got it from her other sister, from a razor, which is just insane to me. I can't believe that. I'll tell you about it in a second after I drink this water. Sorry. So, yeah. Madeline gets a mosquito bite. My daughter. Number 2. We'll go by that. Number 2 gets a mosquito bite. And, that's stupid. Madeline gets a mosquito bite. And she's kind of a picker. So, she, kind of picked at it until it got sort of worse and worse. And I don't know where she got it. I don't know if it was at school. I don't know if it was like the mats at cheer. I don't know. But she apparently got staph infection on her arm, and it started to kind of spread on her arm, and it spread to my daughter, and we didn't know how it spread to her. I guess my Madeline wanted to shave her her arm, so whenever she took the bandage off, it wouldn't rip. And then I guess Haley decided to use the same razor and shave her armpits with it. And when I tell you that I cringed seeing her armpit like that, like just looking it up, and just red all the way down. And oh, look at that thing. Just joking. Sorry. But anyway, just... I ain't even been working out. Honestly, I'm fat as shit. But yeah, just the rash that just went all the way down her arm was just terrible. Terrible. So that probably wasn't fun for her. I felt terrible about that. Started to tidy the place up a little bit. I don't know. I don't have really any books or anything like that. This book, some of these books, The Power of Now. A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. This is what my therapist recommended me. I never opened it. I would like to read it, though. Oprah backs it, I guess. I don't know if that's the one that Oprah backs or what. Is it the same? It's the same author. My therapist must really like that author. So yeah, this one is A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. This dude knows a lot about awakenings. I can't imagine. Imagine being that enlightened and that awakened that you write 2 books about it. Crazy. And then I got some of my daughter's books. I got a whole box of books, and I felt like, I'll just throw a couple books in there. So there's some of my kids' books that are in there. A couple Dr. Seuss books in there. Hop on Pop. All tall, we are all tall. All small, we are all small. I'm not going to read this book to you. I don't even know why I opened it, honestly. What else is going on? Work's been fun. I've been reading a lot, actually. Played golf today. We'll talk about the reading in a minute. Golf was fun. I scored a 58 at Cherokee. Or 58. No, that's a lie. I scored a 51. Thank you. And I worked really hard for that 51. Made a birdie, which was freaking cool on a par 4. I don't think I've ever made a birdie on a par 4. That was fun. And then I got a 9 on the 9th hole. So that's how golf goes. So that was a 51 for me. I've had a battle with my friends. Actually, it's really me, my friend Evan, and my brother Christopher. We've kind of had this battle since we started golf, which was like 2 years ago, like pretty religiously. But we all three wanted to break 100, and we've been trying for 2 years. And Evan broke 100 the other day, and not the other day, it was before we went on vacation. And the competitive, I was so excited for him, and I am so excited that he broke 100. And but the competitive side of me was just like, I wanted to break 100. I don't know why I care about that. I don't know why. I don't care about it. It's actually just good fun, really. Like we're having such a blast. I love golf. I hope I never stop playing it. Here's looking at you pool table that I bought down here that I never play on, but I will. Me and Evan talked about that. My hobbies, and he's pretty. We're kind of on the same wavelengths when it comes to hobbies and stuff, but they come in seasons. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's just we have our things that we're interested in, and we like them, and we go to other things that we're interested in, and we do that, and then we come back, and then, So, yeah, it's a cycle, really, other than trying out different things. A lot of people just think that I just go out on a whim and just want to... yeah, they're right. I do. That's exactly what I want to do, actually, if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, which I like to try to do. I think the name of the game every time I get on this show is genuity, which I think is a word. Genuity, which is mean genuine, which I try to be genuine. I think that's a word. I want to be as genuine as possible, so... I don't even know where I go from that. So yeah, let's be genuine. Let's go through Dumb Man's Book Club. Let's go through 37 through 50. Last week what we did was we kind of went over the slides, and I read them. Read the quick summary. Felt like as I was reading these things, I felt like it was just dragging on, and I think we're going to keep trying to do that. I think I'm going to read to you guys some of these summaries that I did with the notes, and maybe you guys will enjoy that. Hopefully I can stop and kind of relate things to myself. That's one of the things that is helping me retain this information is whenever you're trying to learn something, try to make it relatable to things in your life, So maybe if I see a few things in this summary, I can kind of relate it back to me. And another thing too, that's why I am doing this. I'm so terrible at remembering things, and you're going to find that out, because that's why I have these summary pages. I think the last couple times that I've been on, I just kind of just get on here and just sort of look dumb if I don't have any kind of reference, because I'm sitting here trying to think what happened with Abraham and what happened with Isaac and what happened with Jacob and Moses and Noah. And well, I don't even think we got to know Moses yet. We didn't. No, that's in Exodus, actually. But I just tend to forget. But this is helping. Spitting it out to the void, which is, whoever, a couple people's watching now. Sometimes you guys slip out and nobody's watching, and that is the void. So I'm just talking to the void, and it's going back into my head, back into my ears, and then out to you guys, and it's helping me remember these things. Let's see. This is the second time I've went through Genesis, this is the second time I went through the Old Testament, and the way that we're doing this is so much better than how I was doing it before. Like, I guess I was just, and honestly, I hope I do this with every book. Like, whenever I read, I just start reading, and I can read for an hour and a half and be fine with it. But I think it's just so much information that goes into my head, and I just can't remember. But now the way that we're doing this with, we did Genesis 1 through 11, and then 12 through 24 or something like that, and then 25 through 36, who knows. I'm sorry, I have gas. I have indigestion. I'm sure you guys saw that as I'm burping into the microphone like a disgusting man that I am. I just have indigestion. I apologize. Ever since turning 40, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and now every day I'm just like, is it a heart attack or do I just have gas? So that's fun. I'm super stoked about that. Yeah, that's how this week's gone by. Let me know how y'all's week's gone. Put it in the comments. I'd like to talk to you guys. If you guys are interested in coming on and just saying hello and just maybe wetting your whistle and trying to, just say hello. Yeah. I love talking, and I love talking to people. It's the best thing about my job as a hairstylist. So please, there's a link on there. I think if you click it, I've never done it, so I'm going to be so stoked if somebody just pops up one time. The first person that pops up, you'll just make my night. So, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Let's start. Let's go. Oh, yeah, just getting on and talking. Anyway, it don't matter. Let's go. Let's go to the desktop slides. I'm hoping I can get this camera thing, or this little thing going. I wish I had like a producer or something. Can anybody call Joe Rogan's dude, Jamie, and see if he can come and do this if he's got time? That'd be cool. Desktop slides. There we are. Look at me. Getting things done. Getting it together. If you don't mind, I would like to just take a second to go to my Facebook and see if comments pop up on there, because I do not know. And I would hate to just not speak to you guys. And there's nothing. Lacey liked it. Shelby liked it. Cool. Hello, Lacey. Hello, Shelby. One of my favorite people in the world. We're supposed to do something spooky and scare Becky. Ooh, Becky might be listening one day. Hopefully it's before Halloween. She's not going to listen. I'm just joking. So yeah, here we are. Dumb Man's Book Club. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. And I'm going to move this thing out of the way. And hopefully it doesn't move that. And we can get started. So this is about Joseph. Don't even ask me who Joseph is. Let's try to do this. Joseph is a son of Jacob, which is now Israel, and he has other sons, and Jacob kind is a little douchey, honestly, when it comes to his brothers, because he talks about his dreams, and he's basically just picking on his brothers, being like, one day you guys are going to bow down to me. And that's 2 dreams that he had, and so his brothers, sorry guys, I'm trying to get a good stretch in. I am so tired. His brothers decide that they want to kill him, which I think is a little obsessive. But I guess that's how it is back in the good old days of Israel in the Middle East. Another thing I would love to talk to you guys about, actually, too, is a nice little revelation that I had, which honestly is a little bit racist. And I didn't even really, honestly, it's crazy being a 40-year-old man and some of the things that you just, of course everything revolves around me, and it's all just about me and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna quickly go over it, and because I did say that it was a little racist, and I don't want to just sit there on that, but it's really not. But it's funny because it's like you hear some, and I need to word this correctly because now I just put myself into a situation where I put my foot in my mouth probably, but it's not even that bad, honestly. I'm making it worse than what it is, but I am in front of a camera, and there's a lot of y'all on here, Facebook anyway, not on the video. But it dawned on me that when it comes to religion and what you believe, it's so stupid. It never occurred to me that, yeah, we don't have, this is so crazy. I can't even explain it now. We don't have our own, it's so dumb too. We don't have our own, it doesn't matter where the religion originates in. It doesn't matter if it comes from the Middle East, or it doesn't matter if it comes from Africa or Asia or Europe or America with a bunch of white people. And when it comes to, God and who created the earth, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It came from, it is for people. It doesn't matter what color those people are. And of course, my dumb, stupid suburban Bullitt County white brain just goes, well, I mean, what are we doing? Why is it those people and not these people? I don't know why I do that. Yeah, it is a little more racist, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, I'm gonna be a little honest with you guys. That's how I felt, and actually, it just helped me find some common ground, which is cool, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I want to find some common ground with what I'm reading, because like I said before, I just never gave the book a chance, and we went from just a little bit of what Joseph is to what all of that was. So let's quit talking about myself and we'll just go into the book. This is basically the synopsis of 1 through 36 of Genesis. Genesis 1 through 36 begins with God creating the heavens, earth, and humanity, Adam and Eve, in 6 days. Sin enters through their disobedience, leading to expulsion from Eden. Sin grows, prompting God to send a flood, sparing Noah and his family. Post-flood, humanity rebels at Babel, and God scatters them. In Genesis 12, God calls Abraham, promising land, descendants, and blessings. Abraham's faith is tested, including nearly sacrificing his son Isaac. The covenant passes to Isaac, then Jacob, who becomes Israel after wrestling with God. Sorry guys, indigestion. Jacob's 12 sons, including Joseph, form the basis of Israel's tribes. Key events include Sodom's destruction, Isaac's birth, and Jacob's rivalry with Esau. The section closed with Esau's descendants and Joseph's rise to power in Egypt, setting the stage for Israel's, story. I'll fix that later. Genesis 37 through 50 focuses on the story of Joseph, one of Jacob's 12 sons, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, I think. Don't quote me. I'm wrong a lot. My daughter likes to tell me I am. I think it is, though. Joseph's father focuses on the story of Joseph, one of Jacob's 12 sons. Joseph, favored by his father, is sold into slavery by his jealous brothers and taken to Egypt. Through divine favor and his ability to interpret dreams, Joseph rises from power to become a high-ranking official under Pharaoh, managing Egypt's resources during a famine. Meanwhile, his family in Canaan suffers from a famine, leading his brothers to Egypt for food. Unrecognized, Joseph tests them, eventually revealing his identity and forgiving them. He reunites with his father, Jacob, who blesses his son and dies. The narrative concludes with the family settling in Egypt, Joseph's death, and the groundwork laid for the Israelites' future. Themes include God's providence, forgiveness, and the fulfillment of his promises to Abraham's descendants. There's my father. Hello, Father. I hope you're doing well. Key characters. Joseph, who's the central figure. Joseph is Jacob's favorite son. Sold into slavery, rises to government of Egypt, and reconciles with his family. Joseph is my brother's name, Kenneth Hudgens. That's funny. I just called you Kenneth. Dad. Is that where you got Joseph's name from? I'd like to know. I wonder where. I wonder if that's what. That's where that came from. Jacob, Israel. He's the one that we talked about before. Haley's coming in. We gotta quit. You might have to. Careful. Careful.
Everything out.
Jeez. Jacob. Love you. Is the patriarch of the family. He's the one who we talked about last week. He's the father of Joseph and his brothers. Judah, one of Joseph's... there it is. Judah is one of Joseph's older brothers, initially a complicit in selling Joseph, later shows growth by offering himself for Benjamin. Benjamin, who's Joseph's younger brother, Rachel's son, and Jacob's new favorite after Joseph's presumed death. Which, that's crazy. I mean, just going about his business, telling about who his favorite kids are. I mean, my goodness. Reuben, oldest brother, tries to save Joseph, but lacks authority to stop the betrayal. And Tamar, who's Judah's daughter-in-law, secures her future through deception in Genesis 38. Potiphar and his wife. Potiphar is Joseph's Egyptian master. His wife falsely accuses Joseph of seduction. Yeah. That bitch sucks. Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt, elevates Joseph to governor after his dream interpretation. I don't know what those names are. Asenath, I'm going to pronounce them. Asenath, Manasseh, and Ephraim, that was good too. Joseph's Egyptian wife and their 2 sons. Let's see, the key themes. We're just going to go ahead and just quickly go over these. Divine providence. God uses human actions, even the evil ones. The brothers' betrayal to accomplish his purposes, such as saving Jacob's family through Joseph.
Are you thinking it's a haunted house tomorrow?
Do you want to go to a haunted house tomorrow?
Well, I was going to go to the game, but...
Whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Where are we going?
I don't know. Maybe the haunted hotel. If you want.
Okay.
Unless you want to go to the game, I don't care. Anyway.
Are we just going, me and Maddie?
And your friends if you want to. Ask your friends if they want to go. We'll talk about it later, though. Huh? We'll talk about it tomorrow, then. I gotta see if my mom can watch the kids. Divine providence. God uses human actions, even evil ones, to accomplish his purposes, such as saving Jacob's family through Joseph. Forgiveness and reconciliation. Joseph's forgiveness of his brothers models grace and restoration, overcoming past wrongs. Family dynamics. Jealousy, favoritism, and rivalry shape the narrative, yet God works through flawed families. Faithfulness and adversity. Joseph's trust in God through slavery, imprisonment, and exile demonstrates resilience and dependence on divine guidance. In God's covenant, the story reinforces God's promise to Abraham as Jacob's family grows into a nation in Egypt, setting the stage for Exodus. Now, I got all this stuff from ChatGPT. When I started this stuff, I want this to be as factual as possible, which I don't know how that works with the Bible and some of you guys and even me and, all of that. I don't believe everything in the Bible. Genesis is actually probably the toughest part for me to get into because, we're supposed to believe this whole thing if we're going to jump into Christianity like this. And I don't know. Genesis with it just has a very mythological story to it when it comes to some of the things. And we'll get some of that, some of the things in the Bible is kind of like that. But a lot of mythology when it comes to this, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think that means that it's wrong. I just think that we are trusting human beings when it comes to writing these things, and if God wrote it, we'd have the complete story. But God didn't write it. People wrote it, and they did the best that they can with what they had and the capacity they had to write it down. You have to understand that these people were not like us. Like, that's another thing that I never got through my head. Like, when it came to people back in the 1800s and the 1600s and the 1400s and the 200s and all that stuff, all the way down to just the start of civilization, you almost, other than like caveman, and of course I'm not dumb when it comes to that stuff, or just the evolution of that, but I always just saw people as just the same as us. Like, they just for some reason knew how to read, and that was not the case. These people did not know how to read and write. Only a select few did, and it was honestly, it was barbaric. Like, that's why some of the stuff in the Bible is barbaric, because that's the time. Like, they were all barbaric. So, you kind of have to, you have to take some of the things with a grain of salt. And I think that mythology can sprinkle itself in there. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess. I say that because when I'm reading this stuff, when I'm going over the keynotes and everything like that, I don't want to sound preachy. That's not what I want to do. That's not my purpose when it comes to this book. It's funny because I don't know. You start getting into this stuff and you want to. It was all of this stuff is a complete accident for me, honestly. Like, when it goes to me going to church, and when it goes to me just having a different mindset of religion and all that stuff, it was all an accident. Like, I just wanted to read the book and just to see how it goes. But honestly, like, for real, like, and this week has been the first time that I actually said it to somebody other than my wife, really. But when I said it to somebody that just sat in my chair and was talking to me about it, the book honestly changed. Well, I'm not even done with it. Like, I'm in Acts right now, personally, and we'll get there in a year or so. I don't know, but it changed me, and it changed me for the better, especially getting into the New Testament. Like, the Sermon on the Mount is so beautifully written, and it almost makes you wonder, like, how were they able to even write something like that back then? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's poetic. There's a lot of poetry. There's just a lot of stuff in there that's just beautifully written. And get out of here.
It's my room.
No, that's your room. You need to figure a way to teleport your ass. You know what you need to do? You need to... You're grounded. Go to your room and never come out.
Well,
You're going to have to start going through your window and out the door, and then...
I'll probably die. Hopefully there's no fire.
Are you going to bed? Love you. Where was I? I don't know. Oh well. We'll talk about it again, I'm sure. Anyway, this is the summary for Genesis 37, which I'm basically I read through some of this stuff before, and we're really kind of going over this thing together. This is the part that honestly helps me kind of retain this. So if you want to hang out, and you're just as much of a psychopath as I am for wanting to listen to this, if me want to read this. So good luck in life. Genesis 37, Joseph's dreams and betrayal. The summary, Joseph, and I tried to get this down condensed as much as possible. Anyway, summary, Joseph, Jacob's favorite son, the dreams of his family bowing to him. Don't we all have that dream? Sparking his brother's jealousy. They sell him into slavery to Ishmaelites who take him to Egypt. Jacob believes Joseph is dead while Joseph is sold to Potiphar. Did we just have a discussion about barbarianism? I think that's it. Barbarianism. Yeah. Crazy. This is the part this is that thing that atheists and people that have never read the Bible would say whenever it comes to, them talking about slavery and, not being able to eat pork and not being able to eat different things, whenever in the New Testament it clearly says that you can. But this is that part of the Bible. This is the barbaric part of the Bible that they like to bring to the argument. But like I said, just because it's barbaric doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen. I mean, it's happening now. So you want to talk about slavery and stuff? Well, go solve that overseas, because there's modern day slavery today. Your iPhone, actually. I think they get that from the Congo, and I think they get that from mines, and those people ain't getting paid, and those people are those are dangerous and deadly situations for them. So anyway, key points. Joseph's dream reveals God's plan for his future leadership. The brothers' betrayal reflects family dysfunction and jealousy. God's providence begins to unfold as Joseph arrives in Egypt. Key verses. Behold, we were binding sheaves, and your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf. How crazy. I can't imagine telling my brothers that one day they're going to bow to me and just not want to beat the living shit out of me for that. Which, honestly, if we're going to be completely honest with genuity here, which I really hope is a word. I hope that's a word. I think it's a word. We've called it, though. It's Dumb Man's Podcast. I called it podcast. Dumb Man's Book Club. Anyway, they would not be happy with me. They probably expect it, if we're going to be truly honest. But, yeah, they would not have any of that. So it's funny to hear that his brothers sold him into slavery. Actually, they were going to kill him, but they decided to sell him into slavery. They drew Joseph up and sold him to Ishmaelite for 20 shekels of silver. Shekel's a funny word. We're not even going to talk about what that is. Question 1. So this is the part where we just kind of, I didn't ask. Grok comes up with some questions, and I had him answer these because the last time that I tried to answer these for myself without having an answer, I was truly humbled, and because I don't really know the answer until I read the answer that it gives me, because probably my brain is dumbed down because of the internet and Grok. Why did Joseph's dream provoke his brother's jealousy? Let's see if I can answer this. So I got to think when I read this. Why did Joseph's dreams provoke his brother's jealousy? Oh, well, because he said he was going to bow down to him. Duh. What does their betrayal reflect family? How does their betrayal reflect family dysfunction? I don't know. Let's go ahead and go to this and see it. Answer: Joseph's dreams depicting his family bowing to him provoked jealousy because they suggested his future dominance, threatening his brother's status, especially as Jacob favored him. Yeah, that's another thing. He also was the favorite son. So imagine your father being like, "Yeah, that's my favorite right there," and then the favorite's like, "And you guys are all gonna bow down to me." That's it's a recipe for disaster, I guess. Their betrayal, selling him into slavery, reflects family dysfunction fueled by Jacob's favoritism, sibling rivalry, and lack of unity, highlighting human sinfulness that God will redeem. Genesis 38, Judah and Tamar. Judah marries a Canaanite woman and has 3 sons. After 2 sons die, Tamar, Judah's daughter-in-law, disguises herself to bear a child, Perez, by Judah to preserve her family line. Judah acknowledges his wrong. Okay, that's the end of it. Key points. Tamar's actions, though deceptive, secure her place in the covenant line. Perez, ancestor of David and Jesus. Hold on a second. Let me read that again because this is, to me, I actually wanted to get to know the genealogy of these people because there's a really cool part in the New Testament that whenever you read these boring parts that we're going to get into, and I honestly don't even know how we're going to do the books on this because all it's going to talk about is the genealogy, especially in like Numbers. I think that's when we get into that. But it all adds up to something that's really cool in the New Testament. I don't know if it's Matthew, Mark, or Luke, or John, but I don't want to spoil it because I want you guys to read it. And hopefully some of you guys are reading this with me, and we are going through Genesis because do not skip out on Genesis. Not Genesis, the Old Testament. Read it. Read the Old Testament and then read the New Testament because it makes the New Testament so much sweeter. Key points. Tamar's actions, though deceptive, secure her place in the covenant line. Okay, gotcha. Perez, the ancestor of David and Jesus. So there you go. Judah's moral failure contrasts with his later growth. The story interrupts Joseph's narrative but highlights God's plan through unlikely means. Key verse. She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah. All right. These are some of those things that, we are really going into depth with some of this stuff. And even my father has bowed out into the conversation because it's so boring, I think. That's okay. Like I said, this is for me. And honestly, this is for my babies whenever they're older and maybe I'm not here. And I can give them something. So this is for you guys, for real. I mean, now that if you think about it, and I hope that you appreciate it. Question 2, Genesis 38. Why is Tamar's story included in Joseph's narrative? That's a good question. I honestly don't know that either. Oh, hey, my father's still here. I was just joking, Dad. What does Judah's acknowledgement of her righteousness reveal? Let's find out because I have no idea why I read any of that. Tamar's story is included to show God's preservation of the covenant line through Judah, whose son Perez becomes an ancestor of David and Jesus. So it's basically just going to lead up to the cool part in the New Testament. Judah's acknowledgement, she is more righteous than I, reveals his moral failure in neglecting Tamar's rights and his initial repentance, foreshadowing his later transformation, showing God's work through flawed individuals. Yeah, that's a cool thing about God that I've understood is that he does work through flawed people, which makes the story of Jesus Christ make a little bit more sense. And it's just you see that in the Old Testament a lot more than you think that you're going to. You do see more a forgiving God. He is a just God, but he is a forgiving God, and that is that's nice to see. I have been wanting to read a couple other things. I would love to read I would love to read the Quran and a couple other religious texts that I've dabbled in it a little bit, and I just want to see if there is any common ground in there at all, or just see the parallels of each other. So, and I have been dipping into that, but from what I've learned so far, which I've learned that unless I get it straight from the source and not rely on what other people have to say, the the God of Christianity, he's a good one, I guess. He makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I don't know if that doesn't even make sense for me to say he makes a lot of sense, because it's not supposed to make sense. There we are with that. I think we just did the answers. What's this thing about Matthew, though? Oh, because it talks about the line. Genesis 39, Joseph in Potiphar's house. The summary: God blesses Joseph in Potiphar's house, where he becomes overseer. Potiphar's wife attempts to seduce him, but Joseph flees, maintaining his integrity. Falsely accused, he is imprisoned, yet God remains with him. Hoes, dude. You know what? I mean, what are you going to do? This woman just basically was just tempting Joseph to sleep with him, and like the good man that he is, he does not do it. And of course, this is the Pharaoh's wife. No, it's not. It's not Pharaoh's wife. It's his master's wife. And Joseph must have been a good-looking dude for her to want to get all up in his robes and sackcloths and stuff. And then he just ran away. He ran away and is falsely accused. How did she falsely accuse him? She something was torn or something like that, and he just ran away with it. I don't remember, but what a bitch. What a bitch. Key points. Joseph's faithfulness to God under temptation shows his character. God's presence ensures Joseph's success despite adversity, and the prison sets the stage for Joseph's rise to power. Key verses. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man. You know what? I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm just like, me reading this stuff, I wonder, I'd really like to get, the opinions of, book club people and how they do this stuff. No, I can't just go and join a book club because I'm doing a book club on live, so I can't just go to everybody's book clubs and do my book club. That would be insanity. Just joking. This is insanity. Genesis 39. So let's go to the questions. Genesis 39. Question 3. How does Joseph's resistance to temptation show his faith? How does God's presence sustain him in adversity? Joseph's resistance and Potiphar's wife declaring it as a sin against God shows his faith-driven commitment to righteousness, prioritizing God's honor over personal gain. God's presence, the Lord was with Joseph, sustains him through slavery and imprisonment, granting success and favor, demonstrating divine providence in adversity. I've just gotten to the point where I'm just reading this stuff now, and now I haven't even. Now it's just all mumbling together. Let's do that again so I can kind of understand, because intent. When you're reading a book and when you're reading stuff and you're trying to learn stuff, you have to make it intentional. Don't just read it. And I do that a lot, and I should not do that. So let's try this again. Joseph's resistance to Potiphar's wife, declaring it a sin against God, which is funny because there's no testament stuff. There's no commandments or anything yet. So I wonder where the sin against God comes from when it comes to that, because I don't think we've gotten the commandments yet. We haven't. Shows his faith-driven commitment to righteousness, prioritizing God's honor over personal gain. So there you go on that one. That makes a lot more sense now that I'm actually intentionally trying to learn something. instead of just reading it to you guys. God's presence. The Lord was with Joseph, sustains him through slavery and imprisonment, granting success and favor, demonstrating divine providence and adversity. That was better. See, I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad that I read that again, because probably, it's all just, it's easy for your conscience to just go away, and then you just get put on autopilot. And it's almost like driving a car and then just wondering how you got to the place that you got to. Genesis 40. We got 10 more of these guys. Buckle up. I think we have gotten to a better flow, though, so that's good. Genesis 40. Joseph interprets dreams in prison. Yeah, this is where he is the dream interpreter. And I guess he gets it right, which maybe not. I don't know. In prison, Joseph interprets the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, predicting the cupbearer's restoration and the baker's execution. Both interpretations come true, but the cupbearer forgets Jesus. Right, because he wanted to get out of there. And he asked them to not forget him. And of course, like people are, they worry about themselves and they, forget the ones that help. Which that's not like how people are. That's really stupid of me to say. That's dumb. But yeah, I mean, I guess it just goes to show what humanity can do. And it has been done plenty of times. Key points. Joseph's gift of dream interpretation is God-given. His accuracy foreshadows his role in Pharaoh's court. The cupbearer's forgetfulness delays Joseph's release, testing his faith. Key verse 48. Do not interpretations belong to God? Please tell me. Can I push down? I can. I'm so stoked. Question 4, Genesis 40. What does Joseph's interpretation of dreams reveal about his relationship with God? Why does the cupbearer's forgetfulness matter? It's funny because when I'm reading these things over here, I want to know the questions that it's giving me, and now we're going to get to the answer, which is great, because if we could get through the whole Bible of this, if we could just get through all of this and then get better at the show, hopefully, and especially when we get to smaller books to where we can just kind of just talk about the books rather than like the book of these things, which is insane. That I mean, honestly, hopefully we can get through all this stuff. Maybe we'll just, I don't know, who knows what we'll do. Let's see. Read it again, because I just started rambling. I need to stop doing that. What does Joseph's interpretation of dreams reveal about his relationship with God? Why does the cupbearer's forgetfulness matter? Joseph's interpretation of the cupbearer and baker's dream, attributing the ability to God, reveals his trust in God as the source of wisdom and insight, reflecting a strong relationship. The cupbearer's forgetfulness delays Joseph's release, testing his patience and faith, but sets the stage for God's timing and his elevation, highlighting providence. I don't know what the word providence means. Providence. That's what it is. To provide. That's what it was. I looked it up, actually. It's to provide. Genesis 41, Joseph's rise to power. So if you are with us, which you're not, but that's not it. That's not how it goes. You are not with us. And if you was watching the video, I would imagine you're not just going to rewind it to chapter 41, but maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe you really want to get some stuff out of that. So if you're with us, yeah. So Joseph has been sold into slavery by his brothers, who Joseph has told them, this is Jacob's favorite son, and has told his brothers that they will all bow down to him. So instead of killing him, and I think putting him in like a cistern or a well or something like that, they give him up to slavery and sell him for 20 shekels. And he goes into slavery. He's at Potiphar's house, and he goes into he gets imprisoned because Potiphar, which is insane that I'm even remembering these names at the moment. Potiphar, his wife tries to seduce him, and he doesn't do it, and she convinces Potiphar, Joseph's master, that he was the one trying to do it, and he gets imprisoned. Look at me. Look at that. And now he does the he does the fortune stuff and the dream interpretations for the cupbearer and the baker. And now he's going to do it for the Pharaoh. This is why I did it. I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're reading it. This is great. What did we do? Did we read this? Joseph's rise to power. No. Summary. Pharaoh dreams of cows and grains, which Joseph interprets as 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh appoints Joseph as governor to manage Egypt's resources. Joseph marries Asenath and has 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Key points: Joseph's wisdom and God's favor elevate him from prisoner to ruler. His preparations save Egypt and surround nations from famine. His sons' names reflect God's restoration. It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. This is one of the things that I got from Joseph that I thought was pretty cool, and I probably would have never gotten through this if we wasn't reading it the way that I'm reading it right now. But the book is basically showing us how, God put him in these positions to save a whole country, a whole city, whoever was under Pharaoh's protection against this famine, because he has an idea to, for one, he predicts the famine, and for two, I already have it all. He helps feed those people. So, what a cool story. If you didn't know that, if it didn't really dawn on you of what's going on, which the book tells us, the summary tells us, then now you know. Now we both know. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's what I would like in a god. Him having the answers. So yeah, this is neat. This is fun. I'm remembering this. I'll probably forget it tomorrow. Joseph's rise to power. We read all that. So let's see what we got for the questions. Question 5, Genesis 41. How does Joseph's rise to power demonstrate God's providence? Is it providence or providence? I don't know. What does his son's name signify about his journey? How does Joseph's rise to power demonstrates God's providence? What does his son's... Okay. Joseph's rise from prisoner to Egypt's governor demonstrates God's providence as he orchestrates Pharaoh's dreams and Joseph's interpretations to save nations. So it's not even countries, it's nations. His sons' names, Manasseh, forgetting past suffering, and Ephraim, fruitful in affliction, signify God's restoration, turning Joseph's pain into blessing and reflecting his faith in God's goodness. Imagine getting all of this from the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that have been interpreted from this book, and just what a history for us to be able to even get this and to know this, and to, what a lot of work that's put into just one book. Genesis 42, Joseph's brothers in Egypt. Summary: Jacob sends his sons, except Benjamin, which is now his favorite son. Look at me learning stuff, remembering stuff, to Egypt for grain during the famine. Joseph, unrecognized, tests them, demanding Benjamin's presence. He promises Simeon and secretly returns their money, causing fear. I wonder if It doesn't matter. Key points. Sorry. Joseph's test probes his brother's character and repentance. So this is where Joseph kind of plays tricks on his brothers. I guess he's let's get to this and see if I can kind of get to it and see if I know what's going on here. I remember it, but I'm not going to put you guys through that. We'll just get through. Joseph tests probe his brother's characters and repentance. The brother's guilt over Joseph's betrayal surfaces. Jacob's grief highlights the family's ongoing dysfunction. 42:21. We are guilty. Chapter 42, verse 21. We are guilty concerning our brother, therefore this distress has come upon us. Why does Joseph test his brothers? That's exactly what I wanted to know, actually. How does their guilt over past actions show change? How does their guilt over past actions show change? Joseph tests his brothers by demanding Benjamin, which he wants them to come back, and imprisoning Simeon to probe their character and repentance for betraying him. Their guilt, acknowledging their sin against Joseph, shows change from earlier callousness, indicating a softened conscience, and setting the stage for reconciliation guided by God's providence, which reconciliation, forgiveness, is basically what this book is about. And I am constantly having conversations with, like I said, this book changed me. This book changed. It accidentally changed my life, and that's it's cool. And it's the whole thing revolves around forgiveness, and I think all of us can revel in that, and whether that's needing to forgive somebody or wanting to be forgiven and needing to be forgiven. And I think that, this book preaches forgiveness for others, and you can almost see this book as a good lesson to forgive yourself, because once you can do that, once you can forgive yourself for the things that you've done, and and just not so much, of course, and I think we've talked about this last week, but not so much dwell on the past and the things that you've done, and dwell on the future, and just live in the present, and just not have that hate in your heart for yourself, for your neighbors, for your mother, for your father, for your brothers, for your ex-best friends, for your ex-girlfriends, for your co-workers, for the people over in Mexico, and the people over in Canada, and the people in the Middle East, and the people in Russia, and the people in Ukraine. Get rid of it. Get rid of the hate and forgive. No matter what, at the most extreme, forgive, because it's almost like a poison sitting in your body, and it just can take over and just give you just the most unnecessary stress that you don't have to deal with. You can just forgive, and that doesn't mean that you have to be their best friends, or you just be a good person, and you call them by their name, and let them know that they are loved, and just acknowledge them and be nice, and no matter who it is. That's what this book is about, and this is showing that that's the start of that. So there. Genesis 43, the brothers return with Benjamin. Famine forces the brothers to return to Egypt with Benjamin, which is also, they're going through like a big famine right now. I think it's either 5 or 7 years of famine. So that's the reason why they've even met the way that they have. Is because of this famine, and now they need more food. So famine forces the brothers to return to Egypt with Benjamin. They didn't want to bring Benjamin, and now because of the famine, they have to. Joseph hosts a feast showing favoritism to Benjamin. Judah pleads to protect Benjamin, showing growth and responsibility. Judah's willingness to protect Benjamin contrasts his earliest betrayal of Joseph. Joseph's emotional response, 43 verse 30, hints at his longing for reconciliation. God's providence brings the family closer to reunion. May God Almighty grant you mercy before the man. I'm quickly realizing, and I wanted to talk about this, some of the, when it comes to Genesis, Joseph is a cool story. Genesis isn't my favorite book. It's not. It used to be before I knew it, because I knew all the little stories in it and stuff like that. But it's not. But the story of Joseph is a cool story, and the more that I've learned about this story, the cooler it is. So think about that if you're coming in, and think about that when you want to try something new, and you want to read something new, and you want to learn it. Learn it with your friends. Have a community behind your back. Have a tribe. Because we are tribal human beings. We like connection. We need connection. And we ain't getting it from staring at our phones, watching everybody do whatever it is they're doing and posting it on Facebook. Absolutely, Stephanie. Question 7, Genesis 43. How does Judah's growth contrast with his earlier actions? Why is Joseph's emotional response significant? Hi, Stephanie. It's nice to hear from you. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Sometimes I see your videos on here, and I'm rooting for you. Let me go back to those questions. How does Judah's growth contrast with his earlier actions? I don't know. Why is Joseph's emotional response significant? He wants his brothers, He wants to. He wants his family. That's. I didn't even realize it till now, but that's a huge part of that. That's. I can relate. I could write my family off for all kinds of things, and I don't, because I love them, and I want to be in their life, and I want. I know that they want me in their life, and know they're not perfect, and that's okay. So yeah, I understand his emotional response to weeping. Absolutely. Let's see Grok's answer. Answer. Judah's growth, seen in his pledge to protect Benjamin, contrasts with his earlier role in selling Joseph. So, okay. Because Benjamin's the favorite, Judah does not want to give up his brother, Benjamin. It would kill his father. And this is a lot different. This is the part where, when people say that they don't change, well, they can change. I don't believe that people can't change. Listen, I change weekly. So, but yeah, to the core, I don't think that, I think that people can change. And I think that we don't give people enough grace and empathy and credit. No matter what. And that's one of those things that this book, and actually, honestly, being a hairstylist has showed me. Women are very empathetic creatures, and I think I said it a couple times ago. I thank them for that, for giving me their very special gift that they have, and a lot of men don't. Joseph's emotional response, weeping privately, is significant as it reveals his deep love and longing for his family, foreshadowing his forgiving heart. We can all relate to that. Like I said, we need community, we need family, we need a tribe. We are very community-driven beings, and remember that. I mean, that's going to be a big important factor in all of this. This is why I'm doing this. I want to start a community. I would love to start a community of this, and just some kind of just positivity, because constantly we scroll through the internet and it's just doom scrolling all day, and nothing is nice and nothing is happy, and I want to start something positive. I always want to start something positive because I am constantly looking for my tribe. I have terrible, and I've realized this after, I'm constantly trying to psychologically diagnose myself, because I think nobody can do it better than yourself, to be honest, because nobody's in your head. And thank you, Stephanie. And I don't know where I keep reading the comments and then I just blank out, which that's okay, because we need to finish this, because we are now an hour and 11 minutes. And we have a couple more. So family. Yeah, family. Family, community, all that stuff. I want to make a community. We want to get all this stuff done and be a community. And I always want to be a community because I need because I'm constantly seeking attention. Let's go to Genesis 44. We have 6 more. We're almost done. We're going to kind of fly through these with intention. Judah's sacrifice. Summary. Joseph tests his brother by planting a silver cup in Benjamin's sack. Typical brother stuff, dude. I swear, that's what brothers would do. Accusing him of theft, Judah offers himself a substitute to spare Benjamin, showing repentance and selflessness. Key points. Judah's transformation from betrayer to protector is striking, I guess. The test, don't say striking. The test reveals the brothers' changed hearts. Joseph's plan moves toward reconciliation. Let your servant remain instead of the boy as the servant of my Lord. That's the key verse of this. So you can just see how thrilling and everything is about it. I can't wait till it actually gives me a good verse that I'm going to be like, damn, that was a good verse. Because there are those verses in there, and hopefully I need to make a little list of my favorites. Also, oh my God, I can't believe it's not here. I just want to give a huge shout out to my brother Noah. He got me a Bible, and it's a very, very nice Bible, and it's a super cool study Bible. And he got me a journal to go with it. And thank you, Noah. I've told him thank you enough, but I did want to acknowledge it. I wanted to stick it right here. I was going to have a little thing where I can just stick it right here and it'd look nice and pretty, or even keep it over here, which is the things that you can't see. I'm going to go to the main for a little bit. I don't know if you guys are reading that, but you can see my little books. I was going to put my Bible there after we're done, and maybe, I don't know, it's stupid. But yeah, thank you, Noah, for the book. That was really nice of you. I'm going to use it. I'm going to actually probably... I'm going to use it. I'm going to go through it and really kind of read it. That's one of the things that wants me to get to just do Genesis this week, because I'd like to read it one more time all throughout and read it from the Bible. So we actually may, we'll do Genesis next week. That way, even if I don't, we can just go through all of it. We can go through all of the good stuff in there again, because I didn't do Genesis a very good justice when it came to like the first couple of episodes. Like, this is a little bit, it's gotten better. It's going to get better. I'm super I'm actually really proud of how this episode's going. Like I don't know how exciting all of this stuff is, but it is kind of an educational thing, and it is something that is helping me as well. So it probably is going to be this sort of a format until we come up with something better and cooler. I don't know. Let's see what the question is for 8. We're almost there, guys. Oh gosh, we got a bunch more. We got a lot more. Oh no, my wife's gonna kill me because I'm taking forever. Sorry, Cassie. Let's go to the questions. Question 8, Genesis 44. What does Judah's offer to substitute for Benjamin reveal about his transformation? How does this prepare for reconciliation? Judah's offer to become a slave in place of Benjamin reveals his transformation into a selfless leader willing to sacrifice for his family, a stark contrast to his past selfishness. This act passes Joseph's test, proving the brothers' changed hearts and paving the way of reconciliation as it assures Joseph of their sincerity. So that's good to know that he's trying to out, because you wonder why. Which it's kind of crazy that they don't recognize him, which I don't know how they could. He's probably got a bunch of makeup on and stuff like that. But you kind of wonder why he's doing this stuff. And now, after reading that, you kind of realize that he's trying to see if his brothers aren't a bunch of assholes for selling him into slavery and not, telling his dad that he has been killed and making his dad feel like a piece of shit. I mean... yeah, now I understand why he was doing it. Of course. Genesis 45, Joseph reveals himself. Overcome with emotion, Joseph reveals his identity to his brothers, forgives them, and explains God's purpose in sending him to Egypt to save lives. He invites his family to settle in Egypt. Key points: Joseph's forgiveness mirrors God's grace, overcoming past wrongs. God's providence is explicit. God sent me before you to preserve life. The family's relocation to Egypt sets up to the Exodus narrative. Key verse, 45 verse 7. God sent me before you to preserve you for a remnant and to save your lives. Question 9. I'll let you guys see because I did make pictures. Why does Joseph forgive his brothers? Because that's the whole point of the book. How does he contribute his journey to God's purpose? Yeah. Let's see. Let's get through this with intent. Joseph forgives his brothers out of love, faith, and recognition of God's greater plan, choosing reconciliation over vengeance. He attributes his journey to God's purpose, saying, God sent me before you to preserve life. Seeing his suffering as part of God's providence to save his family and nations, reflecting divine sovereignty. Are you just talking to yourself down there? Babe, please don't make fun of me on here. Get out. Yes, I'm basically talking to myself. And if you'd watch your husband's episode, then maybe you'd know what's going on down here. I'm just kidding, babe. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. I'll be up soon. I promise to say hello. You just got off work. Sorry. I'm coming. Please stop watching again. You don't need to be here. We're almost done. Genesis 46. Israel, Jacob. That's Jacob. Jacob has a new name, and it's Israel. Moves to Egypt. Summary. God reassures. Oh, also, babe, I do want you to know that I am learning some stuff down here. So this stuff is working. I am having fun learning this stuff and figuring stuff out. So leave me alone. Go on, get. I don't want you to watch. Summary. God reassures Jacob in a vision to go to Egypt, promising to make him a great nation. Jacob and his family, 70 persons, settles in Goshen. I bet. She says, I can't watch this. Don't worry. Good. Joseph reunites with Jacob. Key points. God's vision confirms his covenant promise continues in Egypt. God's vision confirms his covenant promise continues in Egypt. What does that even mean? The family's move fulfills God's earlier prediction Jacob's reunion with Joseph is a climax of restoration. Key verse, do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for there I will make you into a great nation. Question 10, Genesis 46. Why does God reassure Jacob about moving to Egypt? How does the family's relocation fulfill earlier promises? I honestly have no idea. And God reassures Jacob to alleviate fears of leaving Canaan, promising to make him a great nation in Egypt and return his descendants aligning with the covenant. The relocation fulfills God's prediction of a sojourn. I don't know, what is that word? Sojourn in a foreign land, setting the stage for Israel's growth into nation and the future Exodus. Which Exodus is the next book? Look how Mr. Obvious. Joseph manages Egypt. We're getting through this. We're almost done. Joseph settles his family in Goshen and manages Egypt's famine, acquiring land and people for Pharaoh. Jacob blesses Pharaoh and requests burial in Canaan. Key points. Joseph's leadership saves nations, fulfilling his dreams. Jacob's blessing of Pharaoh shows the covenant's impact on others. Jacob's burial request reflects faith in the promised land. Key verse 47, verse 27. Israel settled in the land of Egypt. They gained possession in it and were fruitful and multiplied greatly. That's basically the whole gist of this whole story, is how they all multiply into the nations that they are. I do this study once a week. Yep. It's I do it Monday, and I try to start it around 9 o'clock, Stephanie. I have episodes on YouTube and on my Facebook page. You can go to that and look at it on there. It's called Dumb Man's Book Club. You can just you can go. I have a discussion group where I put all of these flashcards onto that, and you can check it out there. But yeah, I upload them to YouTube and Facebook on the Dumb Man's Book Club Facebook page. I'll send it to you if you'd like. Let's finish this up. Question 11. Genesis 47. How does Joseph's leadership benefit Egypt and his family? Why is Jacob's burial request significant? I try to start around 9 because I got to get these kids to bed and all that stuff. Cassie works on Thursdays, so I'm doing my fatherly duties as best as I can, not nearly as good as her, and get these kids wrangled up and put into bed. And sometimes it happens at 9:15. So yeah, basically around 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is when I'd like to start. It's been a good time. I need to stop doing that. How does Joseph's leadership benefit Egypt with his family, and why is Jacob's burial request significant? Joseph's leadership. Thank you, Stephanie. Joseph's leadership saves Egypt from famine. I really appreciate that, honestly, because I don't know where this is going yet, and I will say this: if you start watching the videos, you'll tell that it's getting a lot better, because the first couple episodes are really they're pretty tough. So next week this is the end of Genesis, and I guess I'll just give you guys I'll give you a little update since we're here. This is the end of Genesis. We will go. Next week's episode will be about the whole book of Genesis. And then we'll get into Exodus. So, like, I have my Bible now, my little study Bible. I'd like to just read through Genesis again, and hopefully I'll be able to finish Acts on the New Testament and get some personal reading done myself. Answers. Joseph's leadership saves Egypt from famine by storing grain and managing resources, benefiting Pharaoh and ensuring his family's survival in Goshen. Jacob's burial request to be buried in Canaan reflects faith in God's promise of the land, which that's the land that he gives the people in Exodus, I think. Actually, I don't know. I might be wrong on that. Anticipating Israel's return and covenant fulfillment. Yeah, I think I am right. Genesis 48. Three more to go, guys. Jacob blesses Ephraim and Manasseh. Jacob adopts Joseph's son, Ephraim. Jacob adopts Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, as his own, giving them equal status with his sons. He blesses them intentionally, placing the younger Ephraim above Manasseh. Well, I didn't even know that happened. I didn't know that he just gave his kids away. I guess adopts them as his grandchildren, I guess. Maybe that's what that means. Yeah, that's got to be what that means because I don't remember that. Key points. Jacob's adoption ensures Joseph's line inherits covenant blessing. Preparing Ephraim over Manasseh echoes God's choice of younger sons. Jacob over Esau. Well, that sucks. That means Christopher's the chosen one. I don't even get to be the chosen one. That's a bunch of bull crap. Preferring Ephraim over Manasseh echoes God's choice of younger sons. Jacob's faith is evident in blessing future generations. In the key verse, 48, verse 20, by you, Israel, were pronounced blessings, saying, God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Carry on. I was telling my dad about it. It's nice to see you exploring your faith. Thank you. I am exploring my faith. I've turned 40 and have just feel like I've completely been rebirthed with this new extra. I've lived my first 40. Now I'm on to my next 40, and I don't know. I've had a lot of awakenings, I guess. I don't know how to put it. I guess I'm just getting older, and I'm getting wiser, and I'm getting gentler, and I'm calming down. And still just trying to figure out how to get this, brain to relax and just not be in my head so much. Let's see. By you, Israel will pronounce blessings, saying, God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Let's see where we're at on the questions. Question 12. Genesis 48. Why does Jacob adopt and bless Ephraim and Manasseh? Why does he favor the younger Ephraim? That's what I'd like to know, because I'm going to tell you right now. Christopher's not the chosen one. I'm the chosen one. I don't know what we're even talking about here. This is not my God. I don't know what this is. We're going to just go ahead and just skip out on this book, and we'll just go straight to the Quran, and we'll just forget all of this all ever happened, because clearly he's wrong. Kidding. Let's see. Jacob adopts Ephraim and Manasseh to give Joseph a double portion in the covenant inheritance, treating them as tribes equal to his sons. Favoring the younger Ephraim over Manasseh echoes God's pattern of choosing the younger, Jacob over Esau, reflecting divine sovereignty and ensuring Ephraim's prominence in Israel's history. Genesis 49, Jacob's blessings and death. Summary, Jacob blesses his 12 sons, prophesying their tribe's future. Judah is promised a ruler, the Messiah's line, and Joseph receives abundant blessings. Jacob dies and is buried in Canaan. Key points. The blessing shapes Israel's tribal identities, Judah's kingship. Jacob's death marks the end of the patriarchal era. His burial in Canaan reaffirms the covenant promise of the land. 49, verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah until tribute comes to him. All right. Genesis 49, I don't even know how they even get questions out of some of these things, but I'm glad that they do. And I'm glad, How do Jacob's blessings shape Israel's tribal identities? How do Jacob's blessings shape Israel's tribal identities? Why is Judah's blessing significant for biblical history? Jacob's blessings prophesy the tribe's futures, shaping their roles. Levi's priesthood, Joseph's fruitfulness. Judah's blessing, promising a ruler until tribute comes to him, is significant as it points to the Davidic monarchy and ultimately Jesus, the Messiah. Revelations 5:5, anchoring the covenant in Judah's line. All right, Genesis 50. Some of these I'm just kind of like, well, okay, I'm glad I get to know that stuff. I'm glad that's in my head now and taking space. Joseph's forgiveness. There we are with that word. And death. Summary. After Jacob's death, Joseph reassures his brothers of forgiveness. Affirming his protective role. He dies at 110, which is a lot better than like 800 and 600 and 900. And I think we even got to the point where it talks about how he actually changes that, which is that's one of the things that it's hard to understand, is how are all these people living to be 900 years old. Basically, God just says that they don't get to live that long no more. That's what I got out of that from whenever I read that. I don't remember which chapter or verse that is, but it's in there somewhere. And whenever we go over Genesis again next week, the whole book, maybe I can figure that out. And hopefully we definitely won't be going through 1 through 50 of these questions again, but maybe we can just kind of just take a quick little episode and just sort of go over that and just get prepared for Exodus and see if we can have some. We'll do like we won't do it tonight, but I would like to talk about like the facts that I have in there, because I do think some of those facts are cool. So we won't be doing any kind of questions or nothing like that, but maybe we can just sort of talk about the big things that are happening in that book, and maybe some cool verses and stuff like that, and see what kind of the actual verses that are in there that actually mean something, because there are some really cool. There's some great verses in there. I like the ones. I like, honestly, when it came to like the marriage part was the part where like I didn't really understand 100% where that came from. But if it came from anything, it came from the Bible, and it's beautiful. It's one of the beautiful stories about love in the Bible, and I would like to dabble in that again, because like I said, I did not do it justice. I did not do Genesis justice. So maybe that can be a starting point for people later on in the future, if they ever want to go back to the videos and see some of this stuff. And Stephanie, I don't even know if you're still here or not, but you called it a study. Basically what I'm doing is just taking a lot of books that from, I would like the history, psychology, religion, philosophy, things that I'm very interested in. I'd like to read some of these books and just talk about them and try to help me remember these things and retain the information. I just finished up the psychology textbook that I was reading, and it was one of the things that helped me the most was in the beginning of the chapter. It taught me how to retain this information and try and once you're actually studying things, you're not just studying it to just because you read it doesn't mean that it's there for you and that you're keeping it. You have to make it relatable, and you have to talk about it, and you have to work at it. So this is what I'm doing, is I'm working at it, and I'll have a bunch of other different books. We may not even the psychology book. I'll send it to you. It's a textbook. It's a college textbook, and I even have it. I could probably email you the whole book. I got it for free on the internet. But it's apparently a good one, and it is a good one because I finished it, and it's a great book, and it's super easy to read. I don't know how people feel about reading textbooks, but that's what I did whenever I was in school. I would just pick it up and wonder why we're just going through like different chapters of the book and not actually reading from front to back, and that's what I did with this book, and I actually finished it because it was an easy read and it was fun. So that's why I'm doing this. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this. That and just figuring some shit out. So, let's figure the rest of this thing out. Joseph's forgiveness and death. After Jacob's, we talked about that. He dies. The key points. Joseph's final forgiveness solidifies family unity. His burial request shows faith in God's promise to return to Canaan. The narrative closes with hope for future deliverance. Exodus. Key verse, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive. That's the quote right there. They sold their brother into slavery, and God had a reason for it. He actually did a lot of really great things out of that and kept a lot of nations alive because he fed them. What a good message. You know, I don't know, maybe in the facts it'll talk about, you know, some of the archaeological stuff about it, because that's one of the things that has that's what I'm really interested in. When I saw that Pontius Pilate was a real person, that gets me going a little bit. So it's cool to see. What's the other thing that so Pontius Pilate is a person. What's another thing that they found from? Is it Jericho's wall? I think that they found, maybe, which just gets me all giddy because just brings us one step closer to truth, which I don't even know if we should be looking for it, honestly. Last question, guys. Actually, it's not. It's 2 more questions because we have an overall. Question 14, Genesis 50, which we actually might go over all the overalls of these 3, which isn't a lot, but just to get it going, just to drill it. What does Joseph's final forgiveness teach about grace? How does his death point to future hope? Look at that picture. Look at him just like chilling there. He's probably telling his brothers, see, I told you guys are going to be bowing to me, didn't I, you jerks? It's funny that he actually, I guess they did bow to him, didn't they? He is now in, now helping the Pharaoh, and they were bowing to his, he wasn't lying. That was the dream that they got. Joseph's final forgiveness, reassuring his brothers of care despite their fears, teaches grace as overcoming evil with good, mirroring God's mercy. His death and burial request in Canaan point to future hope, trusting God's promise to return Israel to the promised land, anticipating the Exodus and covenant fulfillment. I need to read that part again about the forgiveness part. Jesus' final forgiveness, reassuring his brothers of care despite their fears, teaches grace as overcoming evil with good, mirroring God's mercy. As we should all do. We all should be overcoming evil with good. That's the goal. That's the goal every day. Every day. Overcome evil with good. Be good. Be good. Question 15, which is the overall question. How do the themes of providence, forgiveness, and covenant shape Genesis 37 through 50? What lessons can we learn about trusting God through suffering? Providence drives the narrative as God uses Joseph's suffering to save his family. Providence drives the narrative as God uses Joseph's suffering to save his family. Forgiveness, seen in Joseph's reconciliation, restores unity. The covenants continue as Jacob's family grows into a nation. Lessons include trusting God's plan in suffering, forgiving others as God forgives, and holding to his promises despite setbacks, knowing he works for good. This is what I think when it comes to that. I will say my final little piece with that, and we can move on and say our goodbyes. Even if you are suffering, even if you don't believe in God, even if, like I said, you can get a lot of stuff out of this book. Even if you are from a different religion, even if you are, any of that, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you are a Christian and you need to, and you're just trying to figure out what's going on and how to live your life. Like, even if you are suffering, still be good. Be good. Overcome evil with good. Be a good person. If you're suffering, you still have to get up. You still have to put a smile on your face. You still have to say hello. You still have to call your mom. You still have to call your dad. Make sure they're doing okay. Make sure you're telling your babies that you love them. Make sure you're telling your wife that you love them and that you appreciate them, and your husband. Making sure you tell all of your friends how much you appreciate them. You should always be giving appreciation to the people in your life and letting them know, because they can't read your mind. That's one of the things that I have been trying to do a better job of is trying to let people know that I do love them, and I don't show it well sometimes because, I've got things on the brain, and it just doesn't. I'm doing my best to come out of here and come and just be out there with you guys, so yeah. Even if you are suffering, find the people that care about you and console in them, and let them, show your appreciation. Be good. You're gonna see a lot of that in the book of Job. So yeah, there's that. We've never gone through the mind-blowing facts, and we can't do it now because we're an hour and 40 minutes. But maybe next week we'll go through the facts, and we'll see what they have to say. So yeah, we've got the book, we've got the mind-blowing facts. Next week I'll try to finish the book of Genesis, which I think I can do in a week. I didn't have no problem with that, but I'm going to read my book that Noah gave me. Thank you so much, Noah. I'm going to go over the maps that it has and all that stuff. It has such a cool little study guide with it. So I'm excited to dive into that book and hopefully write some stuff down. He brought me a journal. I would like to start journaling. I think that'd be great. I just don't want anybody to read it. That's the thing. This is sort of my journal, Maybe I can get some stuff written down, and maybe 10 years down the road when I'm 50 or something like that, I'll start writing on a book and just and that'll be my next thing. So we'll see. Well, that's it. We've finished it. We're an hour and 40 minutes in, hour and 41 minutes in. That's a good time. I think that, I want to be able to talk for this long. Hopefully it was entertaining at some points. Hopefully, maybe one day, whenever, if I get a listener or two, or if I get people on YouTube watching, they found it interesting. I got it. I went all the way to there for they found it interesting. I guess that's it. I'm excited for I am excited for Nicolas Cage's movie, The Carpenter's Son, where he plays Jesus' dad, which I think his name is Joseph as well, isn't it? Is it Joseph? Yeah, I think it is. Which God's his dad, but Mary's husband. He's his dad's watching his son, which is funny because it's Nicolas Cage, and he's the only white guy in the movie playing Jesus' father with a bunch of Middle Eastern people in this movie. And it's a horror movie where Jesus is casting out demons, and the demons look pretty cool. I think he's getting a lot of crap for it because of what it is, but it's just silly stuff. I don't care. It looks funny. It doesn't look funny. It looks good. It's a cool little idea. I'm glad that Hollywood can get their balls back and actually make something that isn't a remake of something else or whatever. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate you, Stephanie, for hanging out. Tell your dad I said hello. Dad, I don't know if you're here, but I appreciate you coming on and hanging out. I don't know who the other people are. I'm interested to see. Right now, basically, I'm just chilling. Just on the, you guys can leave whenever you want. I'm just seeing how many views I got because, little Mr. Attention Seeker that I am. What did I get? Let's see some insights. Stephanie, hopefully I'll see you next week. Let's see, followers, 96 views. I got 135 views on here. I don't know what I got last time. I have no idea. No angry faces. That's cool. Comments, 25. Saves, 0. Shares. All right, guys. I'm out of here. What am I doing? This is boring. Peace. I'll see you guys next Thursday. If you guys have any questions, message me. Check out the discussion page. Dumb Man's Book Club discussions page. It's a private page where I put these keynotes on there, and then we can talk about some stuff that you can feel comfortable talking about with people that are like-minded. Which I don't know how many. I've just been sending invites, and if I've sent you an invite and you hated it, I'm sorry, but support people that are trying to do things. I guess I like to do the same thing. So if you want to show your support, you can go to Dumb Man's Book Club on Facebook and like that page. Subscribe to YouTube at Dumb Man's Book Club. I have a TikTok page and I have an Instagram page, but those things are for reels, and I just don't know if I have anything worth even clipping. I'm not going to go in here. I don't watch these videos. I take these recordings and I just put my little intro video in the front, and I try my best. If I hear my mouth come out of that phone, I turn it off as quickly as possible because I don't like to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. So that means that I'm not going to be taking snippets from my videos to just gloat, I guess. I don't know, to just toot my own horn about all the cool things that I say. That might be for I don't know, maybe if somebody else can do that for me one day. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I've talked enough. I've said bye once already. Last time I think I said it 10 times. Today we are only gonna say it twice. Bye, guys.